Greetings, friends and fellow rebels. Last time I spoke about the importance of having a marriage of a manifester and a seer. One to chart the course of the ship and have the running of it, and the other to navigate the way. Now I want to talk about what happens when, either because you've decided or from circumstance, that needs to be one and the same person. It's much easier if it can be a partnership, two different people who come together to help each other, friends, lovers, family members who help each other. But if that's not possible, you can do it self-sufficient. You can do it yourself, but it requires more discipline. It's harder. Now let's roll it back a minute and talk about the psychic. As I was growing up and in my adulthood, well, I hear jokes about it now. The normal people, the people who are constrained by consensual reality, they have the opinion, and in some cases rightly so, that psychics are charlatans. They tell people what they want to hear, what the customer wants to hear, and charge them a great deal of money to fool them. If you are a psychic, and if you've ever um, given the service of seeing the probable future for someone, you know that that's not the case. Most psychics have their skill set proven over and over before they risk giving advice to someone else. So, acting on the principle of that being the case, why is it that it is so hard to see your own future as opposed to someone else's? I have had innumerable people say to me, well, if someone's a psychic, why don't they just conjure up the lottery numbers, and then they won't have to work ever again, and they won't have to work for people and do readings for people. And the answer is, it doesn't work that way. And what do I mean by that? The more the information is impactful to your life, the more you are emotionally involved in the outcome of what you're seeing. And the more you are actively involved in creating the reality of what you're asking about, the less accurate you are likely to be, because our emotional energy changes the outcome of what we see. It's like the difference between trying to read something, a word or a letter, in a still pool. If you walk up to a pool or a pond, walk up to a pool. If the water's still, you can look down and see what's at the bottom. Assuming that the person who's supposed to be keeping the pool is doing a good job keeping the water fresh. You can look down and you can see what's on the bottom. If people jump into the pool and they're splashing all around, your ability to see, to discern what's in the bottom of that pool is going to be compromised. You might be able to see, oh, there's something red down there and it looks kind of big or kind of small, but you're not going to be able to tell, oh, that's a red dinosaur toy at the bottom of this pool. You're not going to be able to tell details. And it's the same with this ability, the psychic ability. If your energy is actively going out to affect a situation, You are churning the water. And even if you don't mean to be, having an emotion about something that's energy in motion is going to muddy the water. So you need to be sanguine. You need to be still. You need to be apart from taking a hand into making what you see, into affecting it, making it happen, doing anything with it. You can't have a relationship, a direct relationship to it. And that's why the manifester has to be apart from the seer. The seer needs to see with a clean surface, with a sanguine mind, remote, apart from the situation, an observer, a witness. But the manifester has to be balls deep, making it happen. So, can you remove yourself enough from what you're manifesting? Do you know how to tie off your manifestation so that when you step out of it to do a seer, to see where things stand, that it won't just all fall apart? It's tricky. It takes discipline and some knowledge on how it's done. Now, one way to do it, the way most people do it, is you have to be able to carry a multiple, or at least two, personas. Now let me give you an example. The you that your spouse or your children or your friends deal with, have a relationship with, is for many of us not the same you that you are when you're at work. When you're at work, you have your professional side, and that's who you are. But when you're at home with family and friends, you're a slightly different person. You're more warm and more intimate and more approachable, hopefully. You're a slightly different person. Two different personas. Normally, somebody who goes to work as a prison guard puts on that persona, and that's very, very different from the person they are when they step out of that role. And it's true of nurses, of doctors, of teachers. When you're holding that persona, holding that role, it's different. In the same way, you can create a persona of the seer, or if you lean more that direction, the persona of the manifester. And when you're holding each role, you become that person, become that. Now, it's a whole lot easier to be a manifester and step back and take on the persona of the seer for a short period of time than the other way around, because most manifestations require multiple hours, multiple days, weeks, months, years to complete a task. It depends on how big the task is and how much resistance you have to it. So if you're a manifester, it's much easier to have a multiple persona that you can step into to be the seer. But the trick there is you have to tie off the manifestation. You have to have a place to put it. You have to have a person who you trust, a patron who, non-corporeal, who you trust, angelic, guide, guardian, or a relationship with the land where you can ask spirit of your land to assist. But regardless, or you need to be able to have that energy held in a safe place for the period of time that you're doing your seeing. your seership. So you're holding that manifestation, you're holding it pretty much 24/7, perhaps most of us even when you sleep. And then when you go to do a seership, you, after obtaining permission, you call on whoever or whatever to hold that energy. And you put the intention that for a brief space of time, this energy is going to be held in a stasis, or it's going to move forward under its own momentum while you take a step back. A brief step back. And then you do your read of the truth of what's happening, because as long as you're manifesting, you're not going to see it clearly. You do your read of the truth of what's happening, and then you step back in and you pick up that role again. And if you are not handing it off to a person who knows about the manifestation, the project, whatever it is, and knows how to continue it, if you're not doing it that way, then you need to put enough energy behind it that it will carry forward on the fumes. The momentum will carry forward while you've stepped back. Otherwise, you risk it stuttering or stalling out. So, yes, you can do both. It's a little bit harder for a seer to be holding the manifest position. Now, if the seer has assistance from guides, guardians, patrons, that's helping them manifest, where they're not having to hold that energy all the time, where it's more the guide, guardian, and patron holding the energy, and they're just, kind of anchoring it into manifestation. It's usually more how seers work when they do that. Yeah, you can do it that way. But you need to make sure when you step into manifestation mode that you're not holding an open conduit to seeing psychically. Or if you do see psychically, you have to be careful about trusting everything you see, because it's going to get filtered through that manifestation process, and it's going to take on the tone and the color of whatever that manifestation is. That will skew your ability to see clearly. And most seers are accustomed to seeing very clearly. So that can be disorienting. Something to think about. And welcome to the woods.